Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kunjan Narachanya, and I work here at the Department of Education. I appreciate so many of you joining at what I imagine is a pretty busy time of year. We are at the department very excited to be hosting the Teacher Leader Summit at the end of June. It is, I think, our 7th or 6th. I can't keep track, but it's a large number. It's our 6th or 7th teacher leader event, and we're very excited to host a specific track for principals or members of your administrative teams. This webinar is intended to do 3 things. First, we're just going to review a little bit of what happened with school improvement in the 2018-19 school year. I'm going to talk very briefly about the academic vision and school system support plan for 1920. And I'm going to describe the Teacher Leader Summit principal track and how it connects to the plan for next year. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the first and second objectives, but we're also going to touch on those 2 objectives in much more depth at the Teacher Leader Summit. So I will speak briefly about what happened in 1819 from our perspective, and I will speak briefly about the plan for supporting school systems in 1920, and I will speak a little bit more about the principal track, but we will come back to those first 2 objectives. Just on a logistical note, if you have questions, please just write them into the group chat as a private message, and we will take all of your questions and answer them at the end of the webinar. We will also be posting this recording, and we will post this PowerPoint by next week, so you will have access to this after this call as well. So this slide represents our vision for students, and I imagine many of you have seen this slide before. We aspire in our state for students to every day build knowledge of the world, read meaningful texts, express ideas, and solve complex problems, and we aspire for them to be spending the majority of their class time and school time on these tasks. And these are these types of tasks, I should say. And these are the kinds of things I look for when I go into classrooms, and I imagine are things that you look for when you go into classrooms as well. We know when students are doing the majority of the work, they are engaged deeply in the learning. So in 1819, we started focusing on school improvement efforts with one group of schools. And that group of schools is what we call the Comprehensive Intervention Required Schools. The federal Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, outlined 3 groups of schools with whom state agencies should partner with districts. Okay, sorry, I just had a quick technical issue. So the ESSA legislation identified 3 groups of schools with whom states should partner. And the first are comprehensive intervention schools. These are schools that have overall low performance or low grad rate for 3 consecutive years. Urgent intervention schools, which are schools that have challenging performance with subgroups of students, and urgent intervention schools that have been identified for discipline, which are schools with significant suspension issues. Now in 1819, we focused, as I said, only on the first category of schools. And across the state, there were about 270 schools in that group. As we move into 1920, we are focused on all 3. But as I said, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about 1819 and what happened with this first group of schools. And then I'm going to move on to talking about the plan for next year, which includes all 3 of these groups. All right. So in preparation for 1819, schools and school districts built plans for their comprehensive intervention schools. And many of those plans included the identification of a high quality English and math curriculum, training for English and math teachers on that curriculum, and observation and ongoing feedback to support teachers to learn and deliver the curriculum in a way that best met the needs of their students. These are a set of sort of three characteristics that were common across district plans for comprehensive intervention schools. As you all observed classrooms, and we stayed in touch with you, and our staff also observed classrooms, we noticed that across our comprehensive intervention schools, 95% of English and math teachers were engaged in and using the newly identified curricula in their classrooms. And I think that's a really impressive accomplishment for the first year of ESSA implementation. I think we also noticed a couple of other things that are important and have informed how we are thinking about next year. One, we saw that students were also very engaged in class, and they were using the materials within the curriculum, but they weren't spending the majority of the class time reading, writing, and solving curriculum-based tasks. And we also noticed that teachers were not yet getting to the most complex part of the lesson or the unit, which represents learning at the level of the standard. And those two things are things we spent time talking to teachers about, talking to districts about, and realized that we should all focus more of our energy and attention on ensuring that our teachers are supported in learning the curriculum and planning for delivery of the curriculum in a way that best meets the needs of their students. And so our learnings suggested that teachers should be supported to understand the unit or the module, and then should be supported to prepare to deliver the lessons. And so our focus for next year is going to be on how do we all together, assistant principals, content leaders, mentor teachers, district staff, department staff, all focus on our energy in supporting teachers to learn the units or the modules, and also to prepare for delivery of complex lessons so that students are spending the majority of their time in class reading, writing, and solving curriculum-based tasks. In preparing for the 1920 school year, and with that focus on supporting teachers to learn the units and to prepare for delivery of lessons, we saw school systems expand what they were focused on within their ESSA plans. And as I said earlier, we also increased the number of schools that are focused on improvement plans to include both comprehensive intervention and urgent intervention schools. Not only did we see schools identify high quality curriculum, but they were focused on, or you all are focused on, ensuring all teachers receive training on the use of the curriculum, not just English and math teachers, but special ed teachers, English language teachers, and reading interventionists, as well as other professional staff in the building who educate students. We also saw, and I think this is very important and a critical component of the work we're doing next year, which is increasing school-based capacity to support teachers through the content leader work, intervention content leaders, or mentor teachers. All three of these are roles within our schools that are receiving specific training on supporting teachers to learn the units and prepare for delivery of the lessons. And we also saw an increase in support for principals through increased participation in the Principal Fellowship, also known as NISL, and we have a really strong cadre of principals attending the Teacher Leader Summit and attending the principal track. And we're very, as I said, excited about that. So, as I've mentioned, our focus for next year is about students doing the majority of the work every day and teachers being fully prepared to deliver their lessons. That means all of the rest of us, as I mentioned, principals, leadership teams, content leaders, mentor teachers, school districts, and the department are focused on helping teachers to learn the units and modules and prepare to deliver lessons in the best interest of the students in their particular class. You'll see this slide quite often, as for us it represents what the primary focus is for next year, and we will talk more about it at the teacher leader event. And again, I put this slide back to remind us that the things that we learned are, in places where students are most engaged, teachers have learned the units and are prepared to deliver the lessons. So we at the department will do a set of things next year to support principals and school districts in pursuit of ensuring teachers are fully prepared. One is the teacher leader principal track, which I'm about to talk about a little bit. We will have what we're calling school support institutes, which we will share more about soon at Summit. We have content and intervention content leader trainings, mentor teacher trainings, and we will be hosting 2 collaboratives. Just one is about the district planning and super app launch for next year, and the other is about planning for the subsequent year, so 2020, 2021. We also have network teams that provide ongoing support, and we produce tools that you can use in your support of teachers, including observation tools, look-fors as it relates to common planning time, and we're also creating a school culture, classroom culture observation tool as well that can be used to, again, support teachers. So then let's talk about how that focus translates into the teacher leader principal track. The principal track is focused on ensuring that you all, as school leaders, have foundational knowledge about the tools available to you to lead your school. And that, what I mean by that is that you are prepared to understand the basics of the math and ELA curricula in your building. And through that session, understand how you can be helping teachers to learn the units and deliver high quality lessons. We also want to make sure that you are aware of what content leaders, intervention content leaders, and mentor teachers are learning through their training, so you know how best to utilize them in support of other teachers in your building. And we want to share with you our broad approach to the next school year. And as I mentioned, some of the topics that I reviewed earlier, we're going to discuss in more depth at that particular session. So each of these objectives helps you, we hope, be prepared to, better prepared to lead your schools next year. And they translate into a set of particular sessions that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. One thing that I will say is that we have noticed that many principals are registering, who've already registered, have registered for the grades 3 through 8 literacy curriculum. One thing you might consider is registering for the early literacy curriculum for students in kindergarten through 2nd grade. Our data shows that, students, not all our students are leaving the 3rd grade ready at grade level, and that obviously we can influence in grades K through 2. So we are offering these particular sessions for the K2 literacy curricula that are most commonly used in our state. So that's the core knowledge language arts, the ARC core, and the fundamentals of literacy instruction for principals. As I said, we'll share this. If you want to register for the Teacher Leader Summit, you can register in Eventbrite. If you want to sign up for principal track sessions, you do that after you register in Eventbrite for the Teacher Leader Summit in an app called SCED. If you have questions, you can email us at ldoeevents@la.gov. And if you have other questions that about things that I have not discussed, you can also obviously email us at ldoeevents@la.gov. So next steps are register for the Teacher Leader Summit, use the principal track overview. This link will take you to an overview that describes the sessions that we discussed in more detail, and sign up for the sessions that are for principals from CIR and UIR schools. The last thing I'll say is we are still working with schools that have been identified as urgent intervention for discipline, and we are in a learning year with those schools. those schools have identified a partner with whom to work and are developing plans that are focused on expanding social emotional learning and building out a multi-tier system of support within their building. There are links here if you want to explore those resources, and we will be sort of using our work with those schools to sort of think more broadly about how to support more schools with building a multi-tiered system of support and identifying social emotional learning curricula. So we are going to just take questions on any of this. I see several of you who have told me that you can hear me, so that's great. I have one or two people who are saying they can't hear. I think it might be on your end because I have a significant number of people who said they can hear me, so I apologize that you can't. But as I said, this recording will be available, and I apologize. So we'll wait for just a second and see if folks type in any questions. And we will address them to the best of our ability here on this call. And if not, we'll follow up with you afterwards. And I appreciate you being here. So I'll just pause for a minute and we'll collect all the questions that we get. Okay, so we have a question that says, can we get the PowerPoint? Yes, we will post the PowerPoint on our website by early next week. I apologize if you could not hear. The next question is, what is due on June 24th in the previous slide? If you are a UIR discipline school, then you have some component of your plan that's due on June 24th. If you have specific questions about that, just email us at ldoeevents.org and we will try to get your question answered. Then we have a question that are the principal sessions accessed using Eventbrite? Principal sessions are accessed using an app called Sked. So once you register on Eventbrite, you should get an email that takes you to Sked that allows you to choose your sessions. So all the sessions are pre-registered and you should use Sked to choose the sessions that you want to be attending. The next question is, will session materials be available for download? Yes, they will. The next question is, I think this question is about someone who is signed up for intervention content leaders, and can you access the materials for math and ELA content leaders? I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to take your name down and we will get you an answer. So let me just make a note. All right. I don't see any other questions. If you all have other questions that come up, please email us at ldoeevents@la.gov, and we are happy to address whatever questions come up after this. We really are excited about the principal track. I think the principal track will offer tools to principals that hopefully will help you be stronger leaders for your buildings. And if you have any ongoing questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out. But thank you so much for your time, and we will look forward to seeing you in a month. Take care.